Yours truly, that's me, returned just in time to present you a true hidden gem of a manga, the pinnacle, le triangle of crime drama mystery, might as well be the Holy Trinity. An unknown to many yet award-winning psychological manga by the name Arata Natsume Getting Married. Now don't let the title fool you, this story is a twisted yet strangely beautiful tale of the Shinagawa period serial killer. So what is this about? Shinju Shinagawa is a famous serial killer known as the Shinagawa period who likes to kill men and then chop them up. But unfortunately for her, she's been caught and is waiting her death sentence. In the meantime, authorities are still trying to find the missing body parts of her latest victims and a possible mysterious fourth victim. In comes Arata Natsume, a civil servant working in a child guidance center who's our main character. He's got this larger-than-life aura surrounding him. He's got some strong convictions, especially for a Yakuza-looking ex-delinquent guy, and a sincere commitment to helping abused children. He's also an eternal bachelor. One of the children he helped, and whose father was a victim of the serial killer, has been using Arata's name to exchange letters with the serial killer in the hopes that she'll reveal the location of his father's head, which led to them arranging to meet in person. Arata agrees to partake in this facade for the sake of the child and to hopefully extract some information out of her. Who knows, maybe he'll be the hero to solve this case. So our guy tries to finesse Shinju into believing he's an admirer, which he almost failed to, and in a panic to keep her attention, he proposed to her. Promised that once she gets out, she shouldn't get out, she's sentenced to death, they will live together as husband and wife. A sudden proposal, but one that sparks Shinju's interest. Could Arata use this facade to get what he wants, or is Shinju going to get the better of him? The game is on. We also have Leonardo DiCaprio right here. Now this marriage thing, I know it sounds a bit ridiculous. You'd think it would be a setup for a romantic comedy, which is what I believed when I first saw the volume cover for the manga. But then, yeah, okay, I see. This idea behind the marriage gets explored throughout the story. What started as a shallow game of deception to extract information out of Shinju turns out to have a lot more meaning once we get to know Arata as a character. Maybe this marriage pretext could lead to something more. Or not. Foreskinning. It becomes a game, a battle of wits. Yes, indeed. Shinju keeps testing Arata to see if he's genuine about his intentions to marry her, although it feels at times that she knows he's pretending but wants to see how far he would go, while Arata feels forced to comply with her requests in order to find her weak points, and exploit them, of course. Now Shinju claims she's innocent, which is pretty hard to believe given the circumstances and her behavior, but what if she is? Could she be innocent? That's the dilemma of her character and what Arata is trying to figure out, and it's super captivating. Every conversation they have is a trap. Every motive that gets revealed is suspicious. Every development, no matter how small, forces you to question who is really in control. This manga is playing with me. One of the best scenes that captures Shinju's character perfectly and explains the swingy feeling I got towards her is when she has a court hearing. Now I'll keep this as out of context as possible, don't worry, it won't affect your reading. So she's in court and talking to the judge about her past, about her father seemingly being abusive and mistreating her. It appears as though she's trying to shift the blame onto her father and come out as innocent. And while reading this chapter, I was kind of torn between believing her a bit, but then also wondering how much of it is actually true. And it's so fascinating that these reactions are all displayed in the audience of the court. On the one side we have the general public, right? Regular people that just attended the court, who start to empathize with her. In other words, they believe her story. On the other side there's the judge, who, although doesn't show it, thinks she's acting. Matter of fact, he thinks she's got monstrous acting skills. Then in the middle we have Arata, who's caught in between the two. These all mimic the reactions of the readers. You could be in any of these three camps depending on how you perceive Shinju's character up to that point. And what's crazy about this is that every time Shinju appears on page, you cycle through these reactions. Sometimes you believe her, sometimes there's no chance, and sometimes, maybe she's saying some truth. But it's like literally every time she's on the page. She has these moments where it looks like she's about to open up a little, that she might let through a bit of her vulnerable side, if we can say that, only to flip immediately after. So you're never sure what exactly she's planning, not even when you think she revealed it. There's always a switch, or there's more, or a twist. It really keeps you on the edge. I was constantly wondering, what's her end goal here, and why is Arata so strongly drawn in by this woman? And also, why does he love her teeth? So do you know when you get a crown fitted over your tooth, or multiple crowns? They have to shave down your teeth, right, to fit the crowns on top. That's how Shinju's teeth look like. Arata is a strange man. When you break it down, most of the action consists of two people talking behind a glass window, and I guess a guard listening to them like all the time. Talk about a third wheel. There's a jab of manipulation, a kick of psychological maneuverings. It's a mental game between the two main characters. But as the story goes on, Arata takes on more of a detective role. He starts to investigate Shinju's past, form connections in a hope to understand what led to her committing the crimes. It's also when the story shifts a little, in tone, in action, in focus. It's my favorite part of the manga. It's the point where some of the past clues and hints, things that seems random and maybe irrelevant, turn out to be quite important to the plot of the story. Like, early in the story there was a reference to something. I would really like to say what it was, but I feel it would spoil a pretty cool moment. So this seemingly insignificant reference comes back 40 chapters later in one of the most thrilling reveals I had the pleasure to read. If I only paid a bit more attention to that one reference, which I knew where it was from and I had enough knowledge of, I could have figured out a good chunk of the mystery, or at least have an idea where this particular mystery was heading towards. It's so satisfying when an author places clues in their stories that can be picked on and solved long before the reveal happens. And also, the author doesn't forget about them. That's very important. You just need to be clever enough, which I wasn't, but if you are paying attention, you will be rewarded. It's also a surprisingly cozy read because of its structure. It feels more like a small town crime mystery. After a conversation between Arata and Shinju, where usually a lot happens because she's very unhinged, you need some time to process what just happened, to figure out how much you, as a reader, believe, but also how much Arata believes. So everyone needs a break time, a cool down period, and so we alongside Arata move between a few places. We have Arata's workplace, where he seems the most comfortable, and it's also where his only friend is. Then there's the lawyer's office, where Arata is a bit more cautious, because the lawyer has an obsession to prove that Shinju is innocent. He's also very shady but quite capable and a great source of information. And then we're back at the detention center, where Arata is on high alert, just in time for another round. It doesn't always follow this order, it depends on what happens at the time, but it's a very clever way to keep up the pacing of the story without slow chapters or chapters filled with exposition. Honestly, I could have finished the manga in a day or two, but I slowed down because I wanted to enjoy it more. A story that keeps raising questions with every single chapter, questions that eventually get answered, that's very important, is just hard to put down. The one tiny bit of downside is that while the manga is finished, the English translation isn't. There's no official translation for the manga, but a kind person by the name Genderbender Baby 2, no judging, picked it up and has done an incredible job with the translation. They are still releasing chapters, so hopefully they'll stick with it until the end. So you should check it out. If you want an amazing psychological crime drama, as a salesman that knock on your door every day keeps saying, it's a no-brainer, innit?